Well, g'day again. Here we are, out in the blazing sun. It's just past noon. I've been working at something all morning, trying to get organised so that I could show you what I'm doing. I'm planting my potatoes, and at the moment I'm putting in my desirees, and it's working out quite well, except for the fact that I'm running out of material, so I have to go and prepare a little bit more. But I'm just going to take you down and show you what it looks like here. I showed you up there a little while ago, where I was digging out some of the potatoes, and I'm going to replant them. But down this end, you can see that I've started a system. Now, this is an intention to not dig, although I've had to set up a little bit of digging. And as you can see, there's layers. I'm not finished building the layers yet, but at the moment that's as far as I'm going to go. But I'm going to show you what I've been doing. Now, first of all, I've prepared this soil so that it's about 1 metre wide here. And on top of it, I've put in cow manure. And I've put in probably 1.5 inches of cow manure. So that the beginning of this system of no dig utilises a worn fertiliser so that I can not burn the potatoes as they dig themselves down. The next thing is to put a layer of paper on. Now that suppresses any weeds that might come through for a while, and it also holds a bit of moisture. And then I'm laying 4 rows of potatoes in there. Now most of these have shot, so that's really good. I know that they're going to be active. The very first row is tiny, and the next sets of rows get bigger and bigger. And if I go over here, I can show you. That's what I grew last year. Now some of them are our potatoes that we're going to eat, but not a huge number of them because some of them started to shoot. They're the desirees. There may be 1 or 2 others in there that got in by accident. But anyway, the next layer is grass that I've pulled out. Now I'll just show you a bit of this grass. I just pulled some kikuyu grass out a moment ago. In a few days that'll be completely dead, and I'll be able to put it on top of the potatoes over there. But the idea is to allow the potatoes to grow through that, and then to allow them to aerate, and for a number of other things to happen. Now this is what I had on it last year, and I used grass clippings alone. And I threw in a few other things, there's leaves and whatever, and I threw in a few fertilizers into it, and that's what's up there in that section further on. So taking this off, I'm putting it back on because this is a really good method of creating soil so that you can grow in, because that should be very, very rich with everything that went in last year. And there's some red clay soil. There's also been some dolomite and some blood and bone and chook manure. That's one thing that I've got down in the back in the chook yard that I will put on top of this later on. But right now I'm not doing what I did last year. I turned this into mulch last year. I just mowed over it so that it was very tiny, and then I threw it down. And what I discovered was that it sat down very heavy, and that's it over there. It doesn't sit up very high, but it did do the holding of the moisture in. Now what I'm doing this year is I'm throwing this on top. Now that'll keep, I'll build a solid layer, but that'll stop the sunlight getting in and turning my potatoes green and turning them poisonous. Now you should know that when potatoes turn green, they are poisonous to us. So you have to keep them out of the sun. So when you're growing them, it's best to have deep layers. Now I hope to get this about 2 foot high later on, but I have to do a lot more of this before I can achieve that, and I've got a lot of grass around the yard. Now on top of that, as I said, I threw the last year's grass clippings, the lawn clippings, and the fertilized materials, which I have done on those small ones there to hold them down and give them a bit more substance. And then I've thrown another layer of my cow manure on top of that, so that it filters down and allows the potatoes to get more feed as they come up. The idea of going higher and higher is that it will allow the tubers to send up the stalks, which will then increase the number of potatoes up those stalks because they've got other levels of fertilizer. On this also there'll be blood and bone, and I've thrown in some of this. Now this is the ash from my fire, and I've been putting that on, and that bag right there, that's dolomite. So I'm throwing a little bit of dolomite, or you might throw lime on, to get them to grow a little bit better. But eventually I will hopefully turn this lot of potatoes into at least twice that many as it did last year. 2 to 5 kilos is not bad, or 5.5 kilos. Not good enough, but I hope that it will be. Now I've put them together a bit closer this year, and instead of 3 layers in that section down there, 3 rows I mean, I've got 4 here, hopefully to fill up this whole area. Anyway, that's it for today. I'd like to be able to tell you that it's going to be successful, and hopefully this year I'll pull them out a little bit earlier so that I can enjoy them. But the number that we should get should be quite exciting. And this is a method that's been proven for some time to work, and you don't have to water that much. When you get enough layers on there, it holds the moisture down, it all decays, and you end up with a beautiful mulch that you can use elsewhere or grow other things in. I'm actually going to do something interesting. In this, on the edge, I'm going to throw a whole stack of honeydew from a honeydew that I've just eaten, and I'll see what happens there too. Anyway, I'll see you later. Thank you very much for your time.